I quit my job about a month ago, and the day I quit my job, I told myself that I'm going to be as open as possible about the emotions and the experience that follows me quitting my job as I possibly can. Because as someone who has always been very entrepreneurial and wants to take risks and act on things that he hasn't been raised with, his parents were traditional, they were corporate. I always wondered what it's actually like. When we go on YouTube, we see lifestyle. We see Iman Ghazi, we see Jordan Welch, we see Patrick Bet David, we see all these guys with a crazy lifestyle, and that's the byproduct and the end product. But what is it actually like in the beginning days? When you don't have credibility, when you don't have money, when you don't have status, and nothing's going right. What are those early days like? I think it's very important because I get a lot of messages from you guys. I read all my messages. And a lot of you guys are telling me that you hate your job and you're miserable, or you're in college and you have no purpose, direction, and you don't know what to do. And majority of you guys, being transparent, will probably never do something about that. Will never take that leap of faith. So I am talking specifically to the people who are bold enough and courageous enough and have so much resentment with the situation that they may be in right now because you feel like it's wasting your time and you're destined to more. I'm talking to you. And this is the reality of what life and your emotional state is like once you take that jump towards uncertainty. And it's not the prettiest thing in the world. So I want to circle back all the way to my first week. And this was the week of January 5th when I quit my job. That initial week, I was all over the place, left and right. The first thing with content creation is I started putting a ton of pressure on myself to make everything perfect. I felt like it has to be so perfect now because this is my job. And what that led to is me thinking I need to be doing something and being productive 24/7, every single second. And so I had to make these to-do lists, and I'd have some random things on the to-do list that have no real byproduct and ROI in the future. I would just put something down to feel like I'm being productive because my entire life I have associated busyness and being productive with success. It's what we're taught in school. Definitely what we're taught in your job. Like, you always have to be looking busy. You always have to be doing something. That's how you please the boss. That's how you impress someone. We never just ever take a step back and logically think, what's the best ROI for me to be doing right here? But anyway, that first week was an emotional roller coaster. I felt like I had to be doing stuff 24/7. I did not leave this apartment. I was barely eating. I felt like I didn't have enough time for workouts. And when I go back and think about it, I just got really narrow sighted. I just started freaking out because I didn't have any money and I had zero structure. And that leads me into this next point. So, as some of you guys know, I have a mindset coach. So I invested in this mindset coach, and he coaches some pretty big names that you guys all know. And something he said, because I was on the phone with him and I was going, man, I am struggling so much right now with anxiety and paralysis. And I feel like I need to be doing something 24/7. And it's freaking me out that I don't know what the best course of action in my day is. And that's why I'm doing all these little tasks 24/7 on my to do list to feel like I'm being productive. And he broke it down in a way that I never really thought about, but it makes so much sense. And it's kind of scary. And if you ever want to take a leap of faith and go into entrepreneurship, this is vital for you to know. And he broke it down like this. Ever since we're raised as a kid, we have structure because of our parents. And then we go to school, more structure. Then we have sports, more structure. Then we go to college and have classes, structure. Then we join a fraternity, structure. Then we graduate. And then we go into corporate America, structure. Every single time, every single phase of our life, we have structure. And there's some guiding force that's telling you this is what you need to get done. And that gives us purpose and it gives us certainty. And it makes us feel good because we are working towards something that we know has light at the end of the tunnel, or at least is giving us that perception. But now think about a time, this is very common for every single person. Think about a time over winter break or summer break when you don't have a job and you have all the free time in the world. We always go into that being like, yes, free time, You don't tell me what to do. I can do whatever I want." But we get to the end of the break and we're always miserable. I'm always miserable. This summer sucked. I didn't have a job. I was just doing content. I really didn't like it. I had nothing to actively work toward, and I was just sitting with all this free time. And at the core of it was uncertainty. I had no structure. And so he said our brains are seriously wired for structure at every phase in our life. And so the moment when you jump out of structure for the first time ever, because now I'm out of college, my parents aren't here, I don't have a corporate job, I have no true answer, nothing is going on. There is zero structure. It's all uncertainty. Your brain is freaking out and has no idea how to respond or react. So, what it does is it tries to grab onto structure and grab onto some sort of answer. And he said the one thing that separates 99% of people in this world, 99% of people in this world never experience this. 99% of people in this world can never go a period of their life sitting in uncertainty, sitting in a time where they have no idea what is going to happen. There is no answer to the test. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is no certain answer. It is simply just sitting and soaking in the tension of uncertainty. And after he said that, I just said, oh my God, that's so true. And it actually gave me a whole nother layer of motivation because I understood why this time is so hard and why my mind is freaking out. It's literally changing the inner workings of my brain and is giving myself a new identity. But the beautiful thing in this, and it's a very fascinating thing to think about. And even this morning, when I was driving to the airport, my mom was telling me, you know, you're making this new day in the life series. Like, you should start charging people. What you should do is you should go and you should work for a media company so you can get paid. And then you can start doing this. And I just told her, Mom, right now, my only goal is to take action every single day and sit back and see what happens. I'm not looking for any answer. I'm not looking for the answer to the test. I'm not looking for some golden ticket of certainty or some purpose. I simply just want to take action with stuff I enjoy doing and see what comes from it. And it's so unlike me to say that. I would say I'm a very type A person. But at this stage in my life, sitting in that tension and not knowing what's coming has been very unique for me. And it's almost beautiful and calming to an extent. But that being said, the last thing I'll say before wrapping this up is the amount of days recently that I have woken up with depressed feelings, not depression, depressed feelings. Meaning, when you're sitting in that bed and there's nothing that can get you out of bed, your alarm goes off and you want to snooze it 400 times, and you just simply want to stay asleep because it allows you to escape reality and not deal with the issues of the world today. The amount of times that feeling has happened to me in the morning over the past month has probably been more than it ever has in my entire life. But I understand that's a byproduct of sitting in a complete state of unknown. It's normal. And I've accepted that. And I'm coming to peace with it. And I think it's a very, very interesting thing. But over the past month, the highs, there have been some days where the highs are so high and you feel like the man, and you feel like nobody can touch you. And then there's some days where you feel like dog shit and nothing can go right and you're a failure and this is not going to work out. And maybe you should just hop on and get some job, not because it's right from you, but just to get some job, to get some certainty. And that's the best course of action because you don't want to sit, because I don't want to sit in the tension of not knowing what's coming. I just want the answers. That is the best way to describe what life has felt like over the past month, but is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And every single day, I am waking up and getting better at just soaking in the unknown. And it's a fun little challenge. So if you ask me what my life is going to look like in a month, I have no idea. In 6 months, could not tell you. Tomorrow, I have no idea. But I'm going to take it day by day. I'm going to not try to force anything. And I'm going to simply enjoy this very unique period in my life because I don't think in the past I've been good at enjoying periods of my life. I've always been super futuristic, but I'm going to enjoy this time and be very grateful for it because I have no idea when something like this is ever going to happen again. So if this sounds interesting for you, then quit your job and join the club. I'm totally playing, but I appreciate all your guys' support. If you have questions specifically, make sure to drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them next episode, and I may do one of these each month just to give you a life update. So, as always, future looks bright, believe foolishly, and let's make some magic happen.